Welcome to Cloud Love Sleep Stories, where the magic of relaxation begins. My name is Dana Michelle, and I am so glad you're here. For tonight's sleep story, we'll journey into an enchanting world filled with whimsy, warmth, and wonder. Imagine yourself in a quiet storybook village surrounded by rolling hills and peaceful forests. The night air is calm, the stars are shimmering above, and a gentle breeze carries the faint, comforting aroma of freshly baked bread and sweet spices. If you like this sort of content, please take a moment to subscribe so you can be notified when I post new stories like this and meditations. Let's get started. Take a moment to settle in like dough resting before it rises. Sink into the soft embrace of your pillows. As a comforting and freshly baked bread, let the warmth of your blanket wrap around you like a gentle golden crust. Allow your body to relax and your mind to melt away its tension, like butter dissolving into warm batter. Breathe deeply, savoring the sweetness of peace with each inhale. And let go of the day's worries with every exhale, just like steam escaping from a perfectly baked pie. As you listen to this magical tale, let go of everything that feels heavy. You're safe, you're calm, and this time is just for you. Allow yourself to drift into a soothing state, ready to explore the magical happenings of a very special kitchen. In a quiet, idyllic village nestled amidst rolling hills and verdant forests, there lived a gentle baker in a quaint cottage. The exterior walls were adorned with colorful flowers, and the roof was thatched with straw, giving it a storybook feel. Inside, the cozy kitchen was filled with the comforting aromas of freshly baked bread and warm spices. But as the hustle and bustle of the day faded into night, an enchanting secret came to life within the walls of this humble abode. Only at the stroke of midnight would it be revealed, for as the clock's chimes echoed through the stillness, the candlelit room would begin to stir with a whirlwind of whimsy and magic. Enchanted utensils, glimmering jars of rare spices, and a mischievous whisk would awaken from their slumber to gather around an ancient, tattered cookbook that had been passed down through generations. Its yellowed pages held more than just recipes. They contained spells imbued with true magic, crafted to bring peace and joy to all who slumbered nearby. The air was alive with anticipation and wonder as the ingredients danced and swirled together, creating something truly extraordinary. And as the first rays of sunlight peeked through the windows, the enchantment would fade away until its next nocturnal awakening. Beneath the watchful eye of the baker, a vibrant kitchen crew gathered each night, their aprons quickly transforming into works of art with splatters of flour and spices. They huddled together in a determined circle, bent over the faded pages of the magical cookbook. With excited anticipation, they traced the intricate instructions, determined to bring its secrets to life. The kitchen was alive with the sounds of knives chopping through fresh herbs, pans sizzling with fragrant oils, and bursts of laughter as jokes were shared and memories were made. The air was thick with the tantalizing scent of rich, savory dishes being prepared, a mouth-watering temptation for anyone who passed by. Each dish was crafted with care and passion, making it unlike any other feast before it. Peeking over their shoulder, the baker couldn't help but smile as they observed their fellow cooks begin their nightly ritual. Wooden spoons danced through the air like enchanted wands, scooping up precise measurements of flour and sugar from jars that seemed to float down from high shelves. The whisk twirled playfully, creating fluffy clouds of silky meringue that sparkled with stardust. As the magical ingredients combined, delicate aromas filled the air. Hints of sweet vanilla, warm cinnamon, and a touch of moonlit magic. The oven door creaked open invitingly, its warm glow casting cozy shadows across the room. One by one, trays of dream-infused treats emerged from the oven. There were cookies dusted with giggle powder to inspire joyful dreams, and muffins swirled with the threads of peaceful slumber. Pies bubbled with fillings that whispered soothing lullabies, while cakes rose tall and proud, frosted with layers of sweet imagination. The feast was truly a masterpiece, a symphony for all five senses to enjoy and savor. With skilled hands, the baker carefully arranged each confection on delicate plates and platters. The sun had barely begun to peek through the windows, casting a soft glow on the table by the cottage door where the feast was laid out. Soon, the villagers would awaken to discover the enchanting treats left anonymously on their doorsteps. They would revel in every bite, unaware of the magical ingredients that brought them such peaceful slumber and pleasant dreams. And in the cozy cottage kitchen, the baker and their enchanted helpers would settle in for a well-deserved day of rest, ready to bring more magic to the village. The star of these nightly menus was the legendary cloud cake, a dreamy dessert that tasted like a warm embrace from the heavens. The whisk led the effort, twirling and dancing in a flurry of flour while tiny fairies flitted about, infusing their magic into the gossamer batter. As glittering vanilla pods and fragrant cinnamon sticks hummed soothing lullabies, their scents filled the kitchen with tranquil wonder, creating an atmosphere of pure enchantment. As the baker observed this supernatural production unfolding before them, they couldn't help but realize that these recipes did more than create delicious dishes. Each bite released a symphony of melodies and fragrant vapors that wafted out of the windows and into the dreams of sleeping villagers. The baker knew that their creations were not just food. They were comforting potions that soothed weary minds and guided them into deep slumber. The baker's eyes sparkled with delight as they watched a particularly fluffy cloud cake rising in the oven, its airy layers expanding like pillowy dreams. As it baked, wispy tendrils of silvery steam curled up from the oven, carrying the sweet scent of serenity throughout the cozy cottage kitchen. Meanwhile, the enchanted rolling pin was hard at work, expertly flattening dough for the starlight shortbread. The soft, golden dough glistened under the gentle pressure as tiny specks of edible stardust were sprinkled on top, each one destined to bring a glimmer of magic to the lucky villagers who would taste them in their nighttime visions. The kitchen itself seemed to radiate with warmth and happiness, as if the very walls were infused with the love and care put into every creation. In the corner of the cozy kitchen, a collection of delicate teacups began to gracefully waltz in perfect synchronization. Each cup was adorned with intricate patterns of shimmering gold and filled itself with a warm, honey-colored liquid known as Harmony Honey Tea. The soothing aroma of chamomile and lavender filled the room, promising to chase away any lingering worries and invite only sweet dreams. As the night wore on, the baker moved about the kitchen with practiced ease, adding a pinch of pixie dust here and a dash of moonbeam extract there. Every so often, they would consult the magical cookbook, its pages turning on their own accord to reveal new recipes for enchanted treats. The air was thick with magic and anticipation as the baker prepared for their special guests, eager to delight them with their mystical creations. As the hours ticked by, the air filled with a euphoric mix of sweetness and spellcraft, casting a dreamlike haze over the feast of dreams. The skilled baker meticulously laid out each decadent treat on a tray, carefully lining it with a soft, cloud-like linen. Alongside the towering cloud cake and dainty starlight shortbread sat delicate whisper macarons, their pastel shells as light and airy as a gentle breeze. A jar of shimmering, tranquil toffee emitted a soft, ethereal glow in the dim light, its rich caramel swirls promising sweet dreams to all who indulged in its enchanting flavors. As if under a spell, guests drifted through the feast, entranced by the sugary scents and magical ambiance that surrounded them. As the first rays of dawn began to paint the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, the baker gently placed the tray by the cottage door. With a wave of their hand, the magical utensils returned to their places. The cookbook closed with a satisfied sigh, and the kitchen settled into a peaceful slumber. The baker stepped outside, breathing in the crisp morning air. They walked down the quiet village lane, leaving parcels of dreamy delights on each doorstep. As they moved, a trail of glittering crumbs marked their path, disappearing moments later as if they had never been. Returning to the cottage, the baker paused to admire the way the early sunlight danced across the dewy grass. They could already feel the day's fatigue settling into their bones, but their heart was light with the knowledge of the joy and restfulness the creations would bring to the village. Inside, the baker made their way to a cozy nook where a plush armchair awaited. They sank into its embrace, pulling a patchwork quilt around their shoulders. As their eyes grew heavy, they smiled, knowing that soon they too would be visited by the dreams they had spent the night crafting for others. As the baker drifted off to sleep, the cottage seemed to exhale softly, settling into peaceful quiet. The kitchen utensils clinked gently as they found comfortable resting spots, and even the ancient cookbook seemed to snuggle deeper into its shelf. Outside, the village began to stir. One by one, sleepy-eyed villagers opened their doors to discover the magical parcels left by the baker. Children giggled with delight at the sight of sparkling cookies, while adults breathed in the soothing aroma of Harmony honey tea with grateful smiles. As the villagers savored their enchanted breakfasts, a sense of calm and contentment spread through the community. Neighbors greeted each other with warm smiles, sharing stories of their pleasant dreams. Even the most curmudgeonly of residents found themselves humming cheerfully as they went about their day. In the town square, the cloud cake took center stage at an impromptu gathering. As each person took a bite, their eyes widened with wonder. The cake seemed to melt on their tongues, leaving behind a feeling of floating on a soft, fluffy cloud. Children laughed as they pretended to soar through imaginary skies, while their parents felt the weight of their worries lift from their shoulders. Throughout the day, the village buzzed with a gentle, happy energy. The gardens seemed to burst with vibrant colors and scents, as if they were celebrating along with the villagers. Even the sun appeared to shine with extra warmth, as if it too was caught up in the joyous atmosphere. As the night fell and the clock struck midnight once again, something truly extraordinary happened. The ancient book that had been passed down for generations revealed its most wondrous recipe yet, the starry night souffle. This celestial masterpiece, crafted with moonbeam cream and dream dust sugar, required every ounce of magic from the kitchen crew. Utensils clanged together in a symphony of preparation. Spices danced in perfect harmony, and even tiny fairies joined the effort, infusing their magical energy into this supreme creation. It was a sight to behold, a true fusion of culinary skill and enchantment. As the final wisp of stardust settled atop the souffle's delicate peaks, a hushed silence fell over the kitchen. A gentle glow began to emanate from the dessert, growing in warmth until it filled every corner of the room. The baker watched in wonder as the soothing luminescence extended beyond the walls, carried by unseen currents into the homes and dreams of the sleeping villagers. The baker's eyes widened in amazement as the starry night souffle continued to glow, its soft light pulsing with a rhythm that seemed almost ethereal. As the enchanted dessert cooled, speckles of light began to sprinkle across its surface, sparkling like a galaxy of stars. The once bustling kitchen now took on a tranquil and dreamlike ambiance, as if it had been transported to a celestial realm. The mesmerizing sight was like something out of a fairy tale, filling the room with wonder and magic. With careful precision, the baker lifted the souffle from the oven and placed it delicately onto a special silver platter. The aroma of vanilla and cinnamon filled the air, enticing all who entered the kitchen. The enchanted whisk, still dusted with stardust, gave a little twirl as if eager to taste the creation. Even the ancient cookbook seemed to hum with approval as its pages rustling softly in the quiet kitchen. As the baker prepared to distribute this extraordinary creation, their eyes caught something unusual. The souffle's soft glow had begun to extend beyond the edges of the platter, creating a path of starlight that led out of the cozy cottage and into the bustling village. Intrigued by this celestial trail, the baker followed its shimmering light, leaving behind a trail of mouth-watering scents for others to follow. Emerging into the cool, clear night, the baker's feet felt weightless as they glided along a path of glittering stars. The winding trail led through the quiet village, its streets empty and still in the late hours. Each step left behind a trail of twinkling lights, like jewels strewn on velvet. As the path passed by each house, a gentle mist of stardust descended from above, enveloping the rooftops and seeping into the dreams of those slumbering within. It was as if the stars themselves had come down to bless this peaceful town with their celestial magic. The baker could almost hear the soft sighs of contentment from the villagers as the magic of the starry night souffle touched their slumber. Children's giggles floated on the night breeze, mingling with the gentle snores of peaceful adults. The very air seemed charged with a soothing energy, as if the entire village was wrapped in a warm, comforting blanket. As the baker continued along the starlit path, they noticed subtle changes in the world around them. The flowers in the window boxes seemed to glow softly, their petals shimmering with an otherworldly light. The leaves on the trees whispered lullabies, their branches swaying gently in a non-existent breeze. At the village square, the path of starlight began to spiral, creating a glowing whirlpool of celestial magic. The baker placed the starry night souffle at the center of this cosmic vortex, watching in wonder as tendrils of light reached out to touch every corner of the village. Suddenly, the jet-black expanse above burst into a dazzling display of shooting stars and swirling galaxies. It was as if the cosmos had been invited to join in the magical feast, their vibrant colors and ethereal movements dancing in perfect harmony. The baker stood transfixed, feeling a profound sense of oneness with the universe and all its infinite wonders. The air was charged with a mystical energy, pulsing and shimmering with each celestial explosion. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as the baker basked in the splendor of the cosmic show before them. As the first light of dawn began to peek over the horizon, the celestial display slowly faded. The starlit path dissolved into morning dew, leaving behind a sense of tranquility that seemed to permeate every corner of the village. The baker smiled softly, knowing that this night's magic would linger in the hearts and minds of the villagers for days to come. With gentle steps, the baker made their way back to the cottage. The morning air was crisp and sweet, filled with the lingering scent of stardust and dreams. As they walked, the baker noticed tiny sprouts of glowing flowers peeking through the earth, a lasting gift from the night's enchantment. Back in the cozy kitchen, the magical utensils were already settling down for their daytime rest. The ancient cookbook closed with a satisfied sigh, its pages gently fluttering as if reminiscing about the night's wondrous creation. The baker carefully placed the leftover Starry Night souffle on a shelf, where it continued to emit a soft, comforting glow. Feeling the weight of the night's work, the baker made their way to the familiar armchair by the window. As they sank into its plush embrace, they gazed out at the awakening village. One by one, lights flickered on in windows as villagers rose to greet the day, their faces bearing expressions of deep contentment and wonder. The baker pulled the patchwork quilt around their shoulders, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. As their eyelids grew heavy, they could almost hear the whispers of gratitude from the village, carried on the gentle morning breeze. In the village, people emerged from their homes with a newfound spring in their step. They greeted each other with warm smiles and twinkling eyes, sharing tales of the most extraordinary dreams they'd ever experienced. Children skipped down the lanes, humming melodies they had heard in their sleep, while adults felt refreshed and rejuvenated as if they had slept for 100 years. As the day progressed, the keen-eyed villagers began to take note of subtle changes in their world. The colors of the flowers seemed to glow with a newfound brilliance, each petal radiating under the sun's warm rays. The trills and chirps of birds echoed through the air like a symphony, filling the village with a sense of joy and wonder. And even the old town clock, which had long been silent and still, chimed with a delicate, silvery tone that seemed to dance on the breeze. Even the grumpiest of cats couldn't resist purring contentedly as they basked in the glorious sunlight that filtered through the trees and bathed the streets in golden specks of light. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a sense of anticipation and wonder lingered in the air. The approaching night held promises of magical dreams and enchanting adventures. Kids eagerly climbed into bed, ready to drift off into slumber and see what wonders awaited them. Meanwhile, couples whispered in hushed tones about the possibility of shared dreamscapes. As twilight descended upon the land, the cozy cottage of the village baker came alive with a flurry of activity. The kitchen, warm and inviting, bustled with motion as spoons and whisks clinked and chattered, stretching out their limbs in preparation for another night of bewitched baking. The walls were adorned with shelves overflowing with jars of vibrant spices and jars of exotic ingredients. As the pages of the well-worn cookbook rustled open, revealing new recipes filled with frosting made from moonbeams and cream infused with the colors of the northern lights, the scent of vanilla and cinnamon wafted through the air. The baker's skilled hands danced across the counters, measuring and mixing with precision and grace. But before the busy night began again, a profound sense of humility washed over the baker. With a grateful smile, they whispered their thanks to the whimsical kitchen, for they knew that through their creations they had woven sweetness and magic into the minds and dreams of all those they held dear. As if sprinkling fairy dust on each treat, their love and passion infused every bite with a touch of enchantment.